Ratio of almighty nature according to Noone science. By Mary Tarquino Uno Nupu, Black Intelligence Communication Power. Originally written 8/6/2012 and updated NEY 60 and MY 96. 852 days until February 5th, 2025 AD, 9/30/2022 AD. Saturn, Saturn, 18 degrees, intestines, Aquarius, 59 minutes and 52 seconds, second decans. The law mentioned in fifth place brings out the fact that the opposite in some form or other are interdependent on each other. When the Caucasian race fades off the scene, the rest of mankind is left as the opposite of the Ethiopian race. When mankind in general revolves off the scene, the Ethiopian race has developed its own opposite in the person of certain pygmies that represent the negative factors of nature. In this diagram here, it shows the African black race, the Ethiopian race, the first original mankind race, which is the Phoenician race. Then it shows the second mankind race, which is the Minglese race, third mankind race, Indian race, fourth mankind race, Minglese race, fifth mankind race, Minglese race, sixth mankind race, Mongolian race, seventh mankind race, Minglese race, and the eighth mankind race is the Caucasian race, and the Caucasian race is also the youngest of the races. I'd like to reiterate and just make it known again that mankind is all people with straight hair, and these different races underneath the Phoenician race are branches of the Phoenician race, and you can see the word Minglese there several times on the smash circle of existence, and that means that race mixing was taking place. Mingle and mix mean the same thing. This part right here with the noble families mixing caught my attention because it's in the nature books as well. Takandoid race is why it is well known in Africa and the ancient world in general that the only true king was an African king of Takandoid descent. And this is also why when the Phoenician kings were ruling in ancient Egypt and their royal lineage of heirs ran out, they were sent to Nubia for a Nubian prince to come and start up their regal lineage of heirs again by sitting on the throne and producing a male future heir by one of their Phoenician females. Okay, let's get back to the ratio of almighty nature according to Noone science. To say the light and activities, the knowledge and order of existence depend on the positive and negative forces of nature is to include reproduction of self by the opposites called male and female. However, the science of this law is to set forth that it is nonsense to think that one opposite is going to completely destroy the other, in the sense that religionists think one day God is going to destroy the devil or all evil. It is nonsense because opposites are based on each other by nature, and from them combined come all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, just as all light in a room comes from a bulb or bulbs that cannot burn without positive and negative factors of nature. It cannot burn on positive alone or negative alone. It must have some of both, the same way it is with orderly existence. The ratio of positive to negative at the bottom of the circle where we are now is 2 to 7. 2 parts positive and 7 parts negative. But at the top of the circle the ratio is reversed, 7 parts positive and 2 parts negative. Of course, we are now at the bottom of the circle, the animal world, the world of the dead, 2 parts positive and 7 parts negative. The law in 5th position teaches us to quit looking for something from somewhere all good to come and do for us what we must do for ourselves. The negatives in the Ethiopian race, with that 2%, 2 positive, 7 negative ratio, cannot see the importance of maintaining the law mentioned in number 6 position. They do not see the significance of working back toward our 7 positive, 2 negative ratio, the acme of Ethiopian culture. What seems to be best for an individual in our race may not be best for the race, but what is best for the race is always best for the individual. If the bootlickers in our race could understand this law of self-preservation, we would not have traitors in our race called Uncle Toms. Uncle Toms and Aunt Mamas are people who found an opening and support for what they by nature wanted to do all the time. Working with the opposition or opposite against one's own preservation is punishable by death according to the universal laws of the opposites. When one puts his selfishness and self-interest before the survival and well-being of his race, he or she is a traitor and deserves what the laws of nature demand for such crime. Working for the opposition opposite against your own race is below the animal state, and that person deserves to be treated so. Listen to reason. The ratio of positive power to negative power at tip-top of the smash circle of order is 7 to 2, 7 parts positive and 2 parts negative. As a mixed power formula, and the ratio of positive power to negative power at rock bottom of the circle is 2 to 7, 2 parts positive and 7 parts negative. For practical performing purposes, meaning as proven by a light bulb, all positive power alone will not give light, and all negative power alone will not give light either. You must include both in order to produce light. Therefore, the same principle holds true and works in the universes and nature in general. The 7 to 2 ratio gradually becomes 2 to 7, coming downward counterclockwise on the left side of the circle of order, and the 2 to 7 ratio slowly becomes 7 to 2, going upward on the right side of the circle. Introduction to the Nature of Nature book, page 2, 112 in part. Listen to Vena. Vena is Venus. Listen to Vena Tarkinu Unu Nupu sound right reasoning. What you are seeing is a percentage of negative to positive from 3 south, 2 to 7, all around the smash circle on a 72 million year term. Here is the gematria. 3 south equals 55. 7 to 2 ratio equals 55. There are 11 percentages between each section, which are 6 million years each. That's how long it takes for any section of the circle to get better or worse, depending on where you are in the smash circle of order. When the Ethiopian race was sexually procreated at 6 west, which was the 5 to 4 ratio section. All existence was 65% negative and 35% positive at the time. As we went further into evolution, the mankind races that were born in this section, their nature, were empowered by the negativity in evolution. In other words, as new races that came in after the Ethiopian race, they became stronger in negativity, ascended side of negative nature, and became less positive. This is why the other races are more dangerous and more negative by nature due to this fact. In this diagram following shows the starting point of the fall of nature and how each orb in the solar system attributed to that after the 9 North Cataclysm. This affected the pygmy gods and goddesses all the way to the human races. This diagram shows the negative gas cataclysm from Zupu. Nepetu, also known as Neptune, spirit world delusion. Sarana, also known as Uranus, sleepiness getting stronger. Situna, also known as Saturn, Zupu creating bad karmic conditions. Jutar, also known as Jupiter, 9 injustice of Zupu fall conditions. Marsha, also known as Mars, less peaceful conditions by Zupu condition. Gertha, who is Mother Earth, gravity becomes heavier. Vena, also known as Venus, less 9 love energies, no sex. Mary, also known as Mercury, less 9 intelligence. Ripu, also known as the Sun, 6 ether ego, self-born, sex. Sin to reason. Some people may ask, if Nupu is the primary original creator, why does gestation of the universes start at point 3 south on the smash circle of order, and point 3 south is in the dominion of Zupu, the secondary creator in nature? It is all scientific, so follow the science and reasoning of it. To start with, Zupu is not existing yet at that time, and has not existed for 80 circle cycles, which is 5 billion years plus. And furthermore, this scribe has already explained to you, the reader and listener, earlier in this volume that the power of Zupu pulls the circle of order downward on the left side. Therefore, it is not the nature of that same power to pull the circle upward on the right side. Hence, the power Nupu must do that. The writer also explained that the mind power and mental influence of Nupu start at point 3 south of the order circle and pull upward counterclockwise. Therefore, the principles of the creation process work the same way. Zupu creates downward mentality starting at point 9 north on the smash circle of order, and Nupu creates upward mentality and physically starting at point 3 south. Because Nupu is the original creation, prime mover in absolute nature, and the original brain newts melt down in the matter of the universes of absolute almighty nature. Let it be remembered always, let it be known. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 1, pages 183 and 184. Descendant reasoning. Ripu, 6 ether ego, self-born. Mary, 6 ether intelligence. Vena, 6 ether love. Gertha, heavier gases. Marsha, war, passion, lust. Jutar, injustice growing. Situna, bad karma growing. Sarana, deep sleep consciously, mental death. Negative atmosphere, spirit world. Neptune. This is 666, the bottom half of the existence circle, and it's going downward, and this is all Zupu. Zupu pulls down, remember? Zupu pulls down. Almighty nature going toward the worst. Ascending reasoning. We're still at the bottom half, is why you see the 666, but as I read previously, Nupu begins to pull the circle upward from 3 south, going upward on the right side. So I'm going to start from the bottom and bring it on up. Neptune, 9 ether atmosphere growing. Sarana, 9 mind mentality resurrecting the human race. Situna, karma balancing. Marsha, positive war, passion, lust. Gertha, gravity becomes lighter. Vena, love. Sex is sacred, family. Mary, 9 intelligence, stronger. Ripu, regains rulership, positive ego. Almighty nature, going up for better. The 666 stands for 6 ether in space, matter, and time, which was 18 million years ago. Since that time, 6 ether has evolved, fallen from gamma radioactive decay to 333 in space, matter, and time. This is why ghost neutrinos are the most abundant at this time. Ghost particles could improve understanding. Electron neutrino, muon neutrino, tau neutrino. Here's the link for further information. What happens in gamma decay? In gamma decay depicted in figure 3 through 6, a nucleus changes from a higher energy state to a lower energy state through the emission of electromagnetic radiation. The number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus does not change in this process, so the parent and daughter atoms are the same chemical element. Here's a picture of gamma decay, radiation, high energy electromagnetic waves. And here's one of alpha decay. This is what green stands for in our Noone symbol of life in the bottom half, and the red stands for life in the top half. 6 ether, life of death. 9 ether, life of life in the top half. Now this writer will attempt to show you, the listener and watcher, how the ethers look and move when it's time to show themselves in the orbs. This is how all the stars start out at the beginning of the universes at 6 east. The sun at 7 ether. Listen to space, matter, and time sound right reasoning. What you all should focus on, the numbers from 6 ether to 9 ether to 8 ether to 7 ether, as those gases slowly move from different positions every 6 million years, topping off at 18 million years. Remember this well. This is the sun at 8 ether. Listen to space, matter, and time sound right reasoning. As the smash circle passes past 9 north, 6 ether mentality starts to move from the center of the orbs, preparing for Zupu's appearance 18 million years later. It's a lot of preparation. The sun at 8 ether, the origination section. The sun at 7 ether. The sun is at 6 ether, where he, Ripu, and all stars stay at energy-wise. Listen to reason. The function of the testes is to produce male ether to balance the female elements in the universe and give greater light mentally and physically, indeed in unity with female ether. And the same for the function of the ovaries in the female sense. Then the spontaneous heat membrane, which may also be called sensor or thermostat, is the thermostat of the star, and it is a sensor that senses when it is time for air, water, ether ejaculation or flow, etc., and how much. In other words, the thermostat surely keeps everything and functions regulated and adjusted, while the supreme brain empowers the operation and produces indeed the mind and intelligence necessary for order and purposes. Let it be remembered always, and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 2, page 44. Listen to space, matter, and time sound right reasoning. This is how the suns, who emit 6 ether in the bottom half clock, looks. Remember, the gases on the periodic chart continue to combine from 7 gases per element to 8 gases per element to 9 gases per element. Then after the 9 north cataclysm, the death of infrared light, gamma radiation begins to gradually take over, causing deterioration of the top half life forces of orbs, spirits, and the pygmy gods and goddesses. Now that has been explained, let us, space, matter, and time, will show you how the planet's ethers start at by using Mother Gertha Earth as an example for all planets. Remember this well. At this point, instead of 6 ether being in the core, it is 5 ether for the planet Earth, who represents all other planets. Listen to reason, as 9 ether has stages called, in nature science, 8 ether and 7 ether. 6 ether has stages called 5 ether, 4 ether, and 3 ether energies. The sun god of the death cycle is in the 6 ether category. The earth god is in the 5 ether category. Here we see the earth at 8 ether. Here we see the earth at 9 ether. Earth at 8 ether in origination. The earth at 7 ether. The earth at 6 ether. The earth at 5 ether. Now we move forward to Sipu, the moon, who goes from 7 ether to 4 ether. Sipu, the moon, from 7 ether origination to 9 ether zone. The moon at 8 ether. The moon at 7 ether. The moon at 6 ether. The moon at 5 ether. The moon at 4 ether. The nature meaning of the word positive used in this volume is a condition of nature moving towards standards, values, and qualities that grow better and higher toward perfection in space, matter, and time by law and order, and also ascending reason. On the other hand, the nature meaning of the word negative is just the opposite of positive. What's more in these writings is the fact that when this scribe and advocate of the correct information in this book referred to time and matter and space as being absolute individually, by absolute he means unlimited or absolute together with each other. The number 9 represents the true positive and absolute nature, and the number 6 symbolizes the negative, that is naturally and philosophically speaking. The SMAT circles of nature make it possible for the human beings to scientifically research and trace the eternal past, mentally analyze the everlasting present, and foretell the endless future, basically and rationally. Let it be remembered always, and let it be known.
Christian C-Tone.
These SMAT circles, they were loaded. These SMAT circles had planets, ethers, ratios, races, opposites, cycles, powers, cataclysms. This was a really nice document put together by Vanna Mary, the Triad, Space, Matter, and Time, Sound Right Reason, and Utah Tarkina Noone. They put together a beautiful document. My name is Tar Noone, and my name means first black one to be raised in 9 ether waters of Noone. Noone informs us that knowledge is knowing. To know is knowledge. Knowledge is mental power. Knowledge is correct information. Of course, knowledge can be thought, spoken, or written. Knowledge is the best information. Wisdom is knowing how and when to use knowledge. Understanding is receipt of knowledge by the mind and is the unity of knowledge and wisdom. The greater one's mental power is, the greater are the things he can do and will do. The mental power of the Ethiopian race is deeply deficient, and this is the biggest block between us and liberty, between us and equality. Noone is right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and this is what we need to restore our powerful mind of right reason.